Hello my beautiful raindrops, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rainy if you're new here. Today we are going to be crocheting my viral blanket. I noticed that a lot of you guys have been asking for a tutorial or the stitch that I use for the blanket. So that's what we're doing today. I don't really have a name for it yet, but I'm gonna figure that out in the title. I just kind of made it up as I went. And then I realized that I was accidentally doing a pattern consistently. As far as I know, this is not already like a specific pattern. So here is the long awaited tutorial. First, I will show you the supplies. The yarn I am using is Yarnspiration's Bernat Baby Blanket. It is a super bulky 6-weight yarn in the color Misty Jungle Green. For a throw blanket, I used about 5.5 skeins. I chose this yarn because of how easy it is to wash. Let's get started. First, we're going to take our yarn and our 9mm in hook, and we're going to make a slip knot. The number of chains to make will depend entirely on your size of blanket you are going to make. If you are making a throw blanket, you will chain 100. Since everyone's tension when crocheting is different, you might have to crochet more or less chains. So this is where the tape measure comes in. You are going to keep making chains until you have the width of your blanket. Try and keep the chains somewhat loose because you don't want the edge of your blanket being tight. Now that we finished our chain, regardless of length, we are going to chain 2 more. This will give us the height for our turning chain. Now we don't want to crochet back in those 2 chains we just made. We want to skip over them and start in the 3rd chain from the hook. For this first row, we are going to be doing double crochets in each stitch along the chain. To make a double crochet, you will insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again, and pull through 2. We are going to be doing double crochets down the entire chain. I will do a few more with you guys on camera. You will end up with the same amount of double crochets as you did your chain. Since I chained 100, I will have 100 double crochets. As you crochet, don't forget to keep track of your stitch count. It is very easy to lose count or to get it thrown off by 1 or 2 stitches. So just take your time and don't rush it. Your blanket will be done before you know it. It's definitely worth it to slow down and make sure you have the right amount of stitches in each row. That's why I included the finger counter. So if you're counting to 100, you can just count to 10 for each 10 stitches, which is what I did. Or you can insert your stitch markers every 10 stitches to be able to keep track really easily, or even just write down what stitch you're on. There's so many different ways to keep track. I'm trying my best to keep everything on screen, but I had a super crazy setup so I couldn't see that well. So I apologize if it goes off screen a couple times or if it takes a bit for me to get through the stitches. This is what it should be looking like. You can easily count your stitches by pulling apart your double crochets like this rather than counting the V's on top. So keep counting and keep double crocheting down the chain. I will meet you back at the end of the row. Feel free to pause or rewind or fast forward through any of this tutorial. Okay, I'm back to do the last few stitches of the row. This is the last stitch in the row. It looks like there's two, but that first stitch is your slip knot, so do not go into that one. Let's take a look at how our work looks so far. This is what it should look like. Now for the second row, we are going to chain 2. We are going to turn our work, but it's not how you would normally do it. So just kind of put the rest of your work on the left side of you, because this is how it would normally look when you turn your work. This is the side that we just got finished with, and then this is the side that we flipped it to. But we still want to be looking at the side we just got done on, because we are going to be working in the third loop. It is behind the V that you would normally work into. It's kind of hard to show with chunky yarn, so definitely make sure you can see where the V is normally. We don't want to go into that. The third loop is right behind it. It's also at the very top of your double crochet. You also want to go into this loop, not the very first loop from your chain 2. So not this stitch. This is where your first stitch goes. To help find the loop, I push in from the back of the double crochet with my finger and pinch it. That'll help the loop stick out. We are going to double crochet into each of these third loops down the entire row. So let's do some together. So remember, we're still looking at the front side we did on the last row. I'm going to push my finger in from the back on that next double crochet, and that third loop should push itself out, and we're going to double crochet into that stitch. So you can already kind of see the line that we are forming. That's exactly what we want. Let's do our third double crochet. Once again, just push your finger into the back of the double crochet to help you find the third loop and double crochet into it. Continue doing this down the entire row. You should have 100 double crochets. It's a little hard at the beginning to get used to where you're supposed to make your stitches, but I promise you the further you get into it, the better it'll be. It'll become like second nature to you, because this is what we're going to be using throughout the whole pattern. And you can see our line is getting longer. And be sure to remember to count your stitches. 1 or 2 little extra stitches or less stitches will make your edges look really wonky and noticeable. Just keep on going and I will meet you back to finish up this row. Okay, we only have a few more stitches to go. We still have 2 more stitches to do. It may look like just one, but there is that hidden one at the end, so don't forget to grab that one. And since the last one is not a true double crochet, it is just a chain 2, we are going to go into the V at the very top. And just like that, you finished your second row. You should have 100 double crochets. So let's take a look and see how far we've already come. But first, something to keep in mind is all of your double crochets should be stacked right on top of each other. So that's an easy way to tell if you have skipped a stitch or doubled up a stitch by accident. There should be a consistent line down this entire side. And then if you flip it over, there should be absolutely no line on this side just yet. Moving on to row 3, we are going to chain 2 and turn our work. We're just going to repeat the last row that we did with the double crochet in each of the third loops down the row. Continue down the row and I will meet you right back to finish it up. We only have a few more stitches to go, so I'm going to do those with you guys. Don't forget to grab that last stitch that was at the top of the chain 2. And just like that, we finished our third row of the blanket. Let's take a look at our progress so far. We should only have one line on each side. To start row 4, we are going to chain just 1 this time and turn our work. We will still be working in the third loop like always, but this time we are doing single crochets down the chain. As always, I will do a few with you on camera, but I'm sure by now you guys are a pro at this. Doing the single crochets down this row will give us the height variation in between the lines on the one side of the panel. In every single row, regardless of what stitch we are doing, you will always have 100 stitches if you're doing a throw like I am. By now you should be able to tell that you're making your second line on this side. That's exactly what we want to see, and only one on this side. So just continue on with your single crochets down the row and I will meet you back at the very end of it. Okay, we are finishing up the very last few stitches of this row. And as always at the end of the row, do not forget that last stitch. With the single crochets, it might be a little bit tougher to get into. Look at how much we've already got done. I'm sure you're doing a great job. Everything should be looking like this. Okay, so since we're finding our third loop in a different stitch, I'm going to show you where you should and should not be going. Because with single crochets, it's a little bit harder to find it since the stitch is more compact, but here's your normal V. Don't go into that very first stitch because you will add an extra stitch to your count. But if you push your finger from the back and pinch your stitch, you should still be able to find it when it pokes out. It's still right behind the V. So once you find that stitch, we are going to single crochet down the entire row into those third loops. Don't forget to do your chain 1 before you start. Since it's harder to find your third loop in your single crochet, this is where you really want to be counting and double checking your stitch count, because even for me it was very hard to keep count and track and make sure that I didn't go into one an extra time or forget about a stitch. So go slow with it, take your time, because blankets do take a while to make, and if you do it right, it'll be totally worth it. It'll be worth all that time and effort. I'm gonna keep doing a couple more on camera, and then I will meet you guys back at the end of the row. Okay, and we only have a few more stitches left of this row. Don't forget to single crochet into that very last stitch from the chain 1 that we did. And just like that, our 5th row is done. Let's take a second to look at our hard work that we have done. It's already getting very wide. We should now have 2 lines on both sides of our blanket. Moving on to row 6, we are going to chain 2 and bring our work over onto our left side again. And we are going to double crochet into the 3rd loop all the way down your row. You might notice that we are starting our repeating rows. So basically, almost everything that we've done so far is just what we do until we finish the blanket. So give yourself a pat on the back. We don't have to learn anything else that's new. And if you've made it this far, then you can do the rest of the blanket. You're good, you're golden. It might feel a little bit tedious and like it's taking forever, but I promise you, you will get through it pretty quickly. Just turn on a show or an audiobook or whatever you like to do while crocheting, and it won't take that long in reality. I think for me, doing a few rows a day only took me about a week or 2 to fully make the throw blanket. So for me personally, I like to split it up a few rows a day so I can work on it a little bit at a time, instead of overworking my wrists to make them hurt and then I'll be out longer for a wrist injury. So I would just take your time. It's gonna be there for as long as you need it to be. It's not going anywhere, and neither is the tutorial. So you'll start to notice the smaller gap in between the lines, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. The bigger gaps have 2 double crochets in between, as you can see. And then the smaller gap only has like a single crochet length in between. The row we're working on right now is actually the bottom of this part right here. And then if you flip it over, this side will be the side that has consistent spaces in between the lines. So there will be no smaller gaps on this side. Everything will be evenly lined out. Now we just continue on double crocheting in the 3rd loop down the row, and I will meet you back at the end. Okay, we made it to the end of the 6th row. Now we can take a look at what we've done. Again, here's our shorter, closer together lines running all the way down consistently. And if you fold your backside over to the front side, you can see that the backside lines will be running in between the front side lines, which I think is pretty cool. For row 7, we are doing the exact same thing where we chain 2 and double crochet into the 3rd loop down the row. I have come to a point where I ran out of yarn, so I will show you how to do your yarn changes in between skeins. I like to leave a pretty long tail on the end of my yarn before connecting them. So if you need to, just undo a couple stitches to get some more length. This is a little hard to explain, so bear with me. I'm going to try my best to explain it. You want to grab your new tail that is on your new skein of yarn. Keep your new tail on the left and keep your old tail that is attached to your work on the right. Take the ends and hold them in between your thumb and pointer finger. You're going to take the tail that's on the right attached to your work and wrap it around your finger in between the yarn and your pointer finger. Keep a good hold of it so it doesn't come out. You're going to wrap it around exactly like that one more time, and you'll do it again, but this time you will take your tail, go underneath your thumb but on top of the strings, and then fold in the tails under your thumb and pull tight. But slow, don't go too fast because it will come undone and slip off. That's how you join your old yarn to your new yarn. And for the extra little tails on there, you can just cut them off to make it more smooth, I guess. And there you go. Now we can continue on with our row like normal. Go ahead and finish your row and I will meet you back at the end. We are finishing off row 7. Let's take a look at what we've done. This is the side that has the equal lines. And then this is the side with the thinner gaps. We're going to continue on with this pattern. So we're going to have another one of those little gaps on this side right here. But this is where I'm going to leave you with a tutorial. I'm going to put up the repeating pattern written down so that way you guys can see and follow along. You know exactly what to do. So just keep repeating. It doesn't matter how many rows you end up with at the end. It depends on what size you're going to end up making. So just keep making rows until you reach that length of your blanket. So keep your measuring tape handy. And also, please do not forget to count your stitches. That is so important with blankets. I know I've said it a million times, but you don't want to accidentally miscount and then end up having to frog a couple rows just to go back and fix it. It does make a huge difference on the edge of your blanket. You can see it start to go in and out of like a waviness. So save yourself the time and just slow down a little bit. So can we just appreciate the softness, the squishiness, the weightedness, I guess, of how this blanket is going to come out. I've gotten lots of comments saying that they love the texture and the color. It's just so soothing, very good for neurodivergent people. So if you do end up making this blanket for yourself, please tag me on my Instagram so I can see pictures of it. This is my first tutorial, so I would love to know that people are following along and making one for themselves. If you do end up tagging me on Instagram, showing me your blanket that you made, I will include it in my future video, whatever that may be, as a special shout out for following the tutorial. The short of this video did attract a lot of people, and I love that because I'm finding out new people and love getting to communicate with you guys in my comments. And I now have over 300 subscribers, so that is really exciting. I never thought I'd see it. You know, I don't make videos for the money. I make it purely for my own entertainment because I like making them and I love interacting with people online. Most of you guys are super, super nice and I appreciate it. So thank you for the 300 subscribers. I love you guys so much. Truly, it's crazy to see how many people give a crap about me. But I hope you guys stick around and hang out with me. I kind of change up the content based on how I'm feeling because I can't just stick to one single thing. I'll get burnt out super easily, so I just kind of make what I feel like. But yeah, please leave a comment down below or like and subscribe and turn on the notification bells. It truly means a lot to me. So with that said, enjoy making your blanket. I would love to see it. And thank you for 300 subscribers.